From crown to controversy, how the official Strongman World Championships are hijacked by anti-trans hysteria. We bring in our strength sports analyst Audrey Yun to break it all down. History in the Women's FA Cup. A trailblazer advances. A good soldier now takes command in a fight for trans rights. And our good friend Pheobe Rose is with us, and you never know what's coming out of that mouth. And in Karleigh's commentary, why not listening to trans people can be hazardous to our health. Happy Thanksgiving and hello again, everybody. This is Transposition Sports. I'm Karleigh Chardonnay Webb, and at the top of the sports tonight, Jamie Booker, a 28-year-old Philadelphia-based athlete and personal trainer. She went to the official Strongman Games World Championships in Arlington, Texas last weekend, and she took the crown by a single point over past world champion Andrea Thompson of Great Britain. After that, after taking the crown, the organizers of the event stated Tuesday that Booker would be stripped of the title and disqualified because she violated the event's policies that states only an athlete whose birth certificate states they are female could compete in the women's category. The organizer said, quote, "Had we been aware or had this been declared at any point during the competition, this athlete would have been permitted to compete in the women's open category. We are clear competitors can only compete in the category for biological sex recorded at birth." Now, by the admission of the organizers, Booker entered the contest as the woman she is. She made no affirmation of her gender identity in every regard. Originally, it was reported by a number of outlets, including this reporter, that the Strongman Corporation was the parent organizer of the event. Strongman Corporation said in a statement on Tuesday that they were not. They had said, quote, "We want to clarify that Strongman Corporation has no affiliation with official Strongman Games. They do not use our transgender policy, and we are not familiar with any transgender policy they might have." They also stated that we are aware of the current situation involving a transgender athlete at a non-Strongman Corporation event. Since this athlete also competes in Strongman competition, the situation impacts us as well. We are already in contact with the affected parties. We're not rushing into decisions or changes before gathering all available information and speaking privately with those closest to the situation. Booker has been in 3 previous contests leading in to this event. She had done well at 2 of those. She was first place in a regional meet in Washington State in June, and in July, she was second overall at the North America's Strongest Women's competition in Victoriaville, Quebec. What really went on here? Because one thing that has to be pointed out, Strongman Corporation has had transgender policy that mirrors previous International Olympic Committee policy. But in looking for the official Strongman Games policy, it wasn't to be found. At least until it was announced on Tuesday. No previous policy by this event was publicly put out to competitors or anyone else. We brought in Audrey Yun, strength sport athlete and former Strongman Canada competitor, to look into what's really going on. What have you heard about the situation down at Strongman World Championships down in Texas, and what's your gut reaction to it?
Well, first of all, I had the misfortune of hearing about it just as I was waking up. My head was spinning, and there were all these messages and all these posts about the Strongman community freaking out over what was apparently a trans woman winning World's Strongest Woman. That they're saying a man is stealing a woman's titles again.
In some ways, is this kind of deja vu all over again for you? Remembering your story and some of the things you went through, the suspensions, the online nonsense. Yeah, are you just kind of looking and saying, oh, here we go again?
Absolutely, but it seems to be a much bigger deal because it's obviously on a much bigger stage. And honestly, I'm just kind of really disappointed by how this community that supposedly prides itself on being so friendly and welcoming and accepting, how they seem to be reacting to this situation.
What are you seeing as far as the reaction in, say, the forums, the some of the things you've read, some of the things you've heard?
Well, everything I'm seeing is that they're calling Jamie Booker a man, saying that she deceived the organization in order to unlawfully take part in the competition. Um, they're also just repeating how Andrea Thompson is the real winner and how she was robbed of her glory on the podium. I have heard numerous people, like former World's Strongest Man Mitchell Hooper, Eddie Hall, they're talking about, oh, how she's so unnaturally big and how they've seen linebackers smaller than her in the NFL and things like that, and just trying to
And
sensationalize it as
and
much as
I've seen
possible.
and that and the pro levels of strongman, yeah, you're going to see some pretty big people who are probably bigger than a lot of linebackers these days. Certainly going to be bigger than linebackers
Yeah.
in the CFL.
Yeah, well, they're talking about their experiences of like feeling like they've been dwarfed. Eddie Hall 6'1.5", Mitchell Hooper something around 6'3". They forget that there is a supposedly cisgender woman, Rebecca Roberts, a former world's strongest woman herself, who's 6'4", 6'5", something like that. Really big, really strong. She has PCOS herself, and she dwarfs a lot of men, strong men even, but nothing said about her because they think that she's cisgender. And uh, what really gets me is she's also one of the people that are speaking out, saying we need to protect women's sports and get these men out of women's sports, when she's among many, not just herself, many strong women or women's athletes in general face scrutiny for not being the traditional conventional ideal of what femininity should be. So they're getting called men and they're joining in on this.
What's it like being trans and Canadian right now, knowing that one province over, essentially you're being told you can't exist here?
Oh my God, it's frightening, honestly. It's scary. My height, my weight, like the size that I am, I'm only 5'10", but even then, it's taller than average, and I feel like a big presence walking around. Even then, I'm scared to shits about like what's gonna happen around the corner. Is somebody gonna hate crime me? Uh, and that's in BC, so I shudder to think what would even happen in Alberta. What kind of stuff would happen there? Because even here, I've gotten random people I don't even know screaming across the street, follow me down the entire street to the train station, saying, "You're a man, you're disgusting," for no freaking reason.
And wait a minute, in
In
British Columbia,
Vancouver,
in Vancouver,
downtown Vancouver.
that's downtown Vancouver. Now, Matt, so who knows what happens in downtown, say, Calgary?
Downtown Edmonton, downtown wherever. Oh, God.
If you could have a sit down with Daniel Smith, Premier of Alberta, what would you tell her?
Where to even begin? First of all, I don't know what kind of things I could say that would get a person like that to listen. But if they could listen, if they were willing to listen and be open, I would try to inform these people about the realities of science, of facts of our lives, of the social conditions, and of life, because it's not as clear cut and simplified as they like to think it is. It's life, science, everything. It's a lot more complex than a lot of us can even imagine, and it's going to affect us in all sorts of different ways. And it's not as simple as saying XX woman, XY man, man be banned from all these spaces.
With that in mind, the exit question. If you could talk to Jamie Booker right now, what would you tell her?
I honestly don't know what I would tell her. I tell her to be kind to yourself, take care of yourself, try and not let the world get you down so much. We gotta fight back and exist and follow our passions and live our lives as best we can without feeling like we're being completely crushed under the weight of everything. I'd also like to mention to the rest of the strongman community out there that this isn't right. I mean, all of you strong women are getting accused of being men already, and honestly, there's no scientific proof or evidence that you guys are, in fact, cisgender women, according to your own criteria. Why don't you guys go through all of these sex verification tests and stuff? Not that that would be good. That would, in fact, be terrible. That would be taking power away from women, and it's just distracting from the issue of wanting to grow women's sports, which is what we should really be focusing on. Money, equipment, and opportunities, and coaching, competition, and support for transportation, and the infrastructures that are in place, and leagues and professional outlets that are something to aspire to, the pathways to get there. These people that supposedly care about women's sports, they haven't even gone to a professional women's sporting event. They're not even buying tickets or merch or anything. We should be focusing on actually growing women's sports, the positives. And maybe they should try and actually perform what they claim to be in being friendly and accepting and welcoming, not just saying like, oh, we would welcome you, but only in a segregated category where all your prizes don't matter. No, it shouldn't be less of a pie for you because I get less of a pie here. It should be more of a bigger slice of pie for us so that we can all have more, so that we can all grow and progress.
When you do hit those lofty goals, Transposition Sports is going to be there. If nothing else, to shield you from Rebel News.
Okay.
Audrey Yun, thank you for being with us on Transposition Sports tonight.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you for having me.
After all that, we need a Trans Joy update, and we got one Sunday. Sutton United, Bauer and Pitsy, second round of the FA Cup. Now, Sutton United's manager, we know who she is. She's Lucy Clark, the FA's first ever transgender official and the FA's first ever football manager when she took over last year at Sutton United. First half action, Millie Cutler working towards the box and taken down in the box. That's a no-no. That's a penalty kick. Call on Beth Humphrey. And she calmly slams it through. 1-0 Sutton. That's where it ended up at the end of the first half. Now in the second half, Sutton still up 1-0. Emma Spear working that right wing. Check out the cross. Millie Cutler will stretch and go 2-0. Sutton is up front, and Sutton looks to be in command, but Bauer and Pitsy fought right back. Whitney Locke turning the misplay from Elamian into a pass to Evie Clark for a goal. It's 2-1. Could Bauer and Pitsy make a comeback? Tessa Allen working things from the back, over to Eden Clark, inside to Cutler. Her second goal of the game made it 3-1. Sutton United went on to win 3-2, and they're already locked into round 3.
Listen, it's massive, isn't it? I've said to the girls, these opportunities might not come round very often, to actually make the third round of the FA Cup. For little old Sutton, not been done before. So I said, just make sure that we have no regrets and that you give it everything. And the girls have gone out there, they've given it everything. And we're in the third round tomorrow night.
There we go.
Okay,
Karleigh, take us away. Our home teams, please.
Number 13.
Number 13, that is Sutton United.
Number 15.
They'll be facing Chatham Town. Won on penalties yesterday, a huge result for them.
In some breaking Transjoy news this week as well, U.S. Army Major retired Kara Cochran, who was on our forum to talk about semi-pro football, ultramarathons, and being thrown out of the military because of the ridiculous Trump administration trans ban, was named Executive Director of Sparta Pride this week. Sparta Pride is an advocacy organization for transgender military veterans. Cochran had stated that she was in this fight to win it, whether she was in uniform or out. And she said so on this show back in June. 2 tours in Afghanistan. You've led troops. You've been shot at, and you're not getting a pension. And also, you've heard some of the things that the Secretary of Defense has said about trans troops. When you hear all that, do you ever get the feeling in the back of your mind, why am I going to engage in a fight to serve a nation that seemingly doesn't want to serve me?
Because the second we stop trying to fight for our right to defend our country and we cave into things like this, then the American dream is lost. The ideals of freedom and liberty are gone. So I have grown up with a sense of patriotism, a sense of honor and character from my upbringing as a young kid, to reinforcing that, reinstilling that. And, I don't just wear the Ranger tab, I bear it, in which, you never quit, you never surrender, you never leave any of your fallen comrades behind. You continue to display the intestinal fortitude that's required to complete the mission. And I'm not going to stand by, and we're not going to stand by and let people strip freedoms that we have fought for through our honorable service that we've been open about for over a decade.
Congratulations and fight on, Major Cochran, and just know, I and many others have your 6. We'll return to Transposition Sports. Good friend Pheobe Rose comes in, and you never know what's coming out of that mouth. It'll be entertaining and informative. And Karleigh's commentary, why not listening to trans people is hazardous to our health. This is Transposition Sports. I'm Karleigh Chardonnay Webb. Stay with us.
Hey everybody, I'm Kirby the Cat, and I'm the highlight producer here at Transposition Sports, because
Transposition Sports, we show highlights, and we show yours.
But a highlight producer needs highlights, and this is where you come in. If you're trans or non-binary and you're rocking in sports, I want to showcase you. If you're interested and like to know more, if you've been rocking it, the way you can send your video in, we got it in the comments. So please, make your cat happy. Send your highlights in, because if you don't, we'll have to show a lot of this person's highlights.
Whoa, wait a minute. Just don't forget, Kirby, this person feeds you.
So, I interrupt Transposition Sports because I'm cute and I can. And for this message from the angry gay grandpa. You don't pay me enough for this, Karleigh.
So maybe I'll start a little bit softer.
This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. This little light of mine.
Dad?
Before you say anything, I just want to apologize for what I said this morning. I've been doing a lot of thinking. If you want to change your name, if you want to wear a dress.
It's a skirt, Dad.
Skirt? I don't know the kind of support you need, but let's get you some for all this transgender stuff.
Wait. Are you serious? Dad, what is this?
Oh, this is me supporting you. This is me saying I love you. This is me not losing you.
Love you, Dad.
Love you. Holly.
This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine.
And welcome back to Transposition Sports. I'm Karleigh Chardonnay-Webb. Our spotlight interview, or more accurately, our second spotlight interview tonight, is a good friend of the show and one of my favorite people. And one of the reasons why she says stuff that needs to be said over and she's willing to put that thought out there.
If you're an openly trans athlete, you may as well just paint a red and white target on you. Because you're going to have the modern day lynch mob come after you. Whether you're in a swimming pool, whether you're in Rhode Island and you're just two people that want to run around a track, whether you're in Texas and you just want to play high school flag football, you're going to have the nonsense mongering brigade come after you just because you exist. Just because you exist.
Pheobe Rose, welcome to Transposition Sports. It's good to have you back.
Why do you always pick a clip from that interview when I have an eye infection? You can see in that interview, my right eye is nearly closed. And it's just like...
I never noticed.
No, if you look closely, my right eye is closing up.
Well, in any case, Pheobe, welcome back to Transposition Sports. Always good to have you here.
It's always a pleasure. Always a pleasure, never a chore.
Like the dress number one. And just to catch up, what have you been up to?
A lot.
Because one thing
you wanted more. You wanted more?
Of course I wanted more.
Well, I don't live in England anymore. I don't live in America anymore. I now live in another country. And, you know, I'm glad to not be living in those countries anymore. Well, and it's nice. It's nice where I am. It's nice. Nice in blurry background land. Nice.
Well, that's one thing. I mean, a lot of people have been looking to.
So what's it like in America? If we're still going to call it America.
Right now, it's in a state of flux. But there was a Formula One race this past weekend. Here in the United States.
We don't like the winner of that race.
Well, we know we don't like the winner in that race. And you really don't like the... Yeah, I know that you don't like the team that got penalized in that race. I know you don't like the penalty. What was your view of what went down with McLaren in Vegas?
These Formula One cars have done something no generation of Formula One car has done before them. Get disqualified for plank wear on a regular basis. The only person ever to be disqualified from a race for plank wear before these new regulations came in was 1995, and his name was Michael Schumacher, and he was driving around Belgium. I guess who was running that team, Flavio? Something needs to be looked at with these ground effect cars, because on a regular basis, cars are being disqualified for plank wear. Those of you who aren't aware, plank wear is the magnesium T-tray which sits underneath the car that wears to ensure that you have a minimum ride height on the car. It's a bit ironic considering these are ground effect cars that are supposed to hug the ground. So having a minimum ride height is a bit of a nonsense, in my opinion. But to get to that point, we've seen 2 Ferraris get disqualified. We've now seen 2 McLarens get disqualified. And we've seen other cars be periodically disqualified in this era of these regulations of ground effect cars. And something really needs to be looked at to say, is it something to do with the regulations? Is it teams not interpreting the regulations correctly? Or is it the actual tracks themselves, or a combination of all three, that is causing these cars to get regularly disqualified? I don't mean on a frequent basis, but I mean it's at least 2 teams a season will get some form of disqualification. So Ferrari earlier in the season had both cars disqualified for this, and now we have McLaren getting disqualified.
Now, why haven't Red Bull been caught?
Because Red Bull are in the pockets of the FIA, but we'll get beyond my defamatory statements about Red Bull to another day.
Is Red Bull the new Ferrari? Because the very same things you said about Red Bull, people said about Ferrari for decades.
The difference between Red Bull and Ferrari is that Ferrari always entered 2 cars. Red Bull are entering 1 car and a support vehicle.
Wow, so Yuki Tsunoda is a support vehicle.
Yeah, so was Liam Lawson. So was Carlos Sainz. It's not the driver. It's really not the driver. The problem with Red Bull is they have designed a car around 1 driver. And that's the problem. Only 1 driver can drive that car. You could stick Ayrton Senna in that car and raise him from the dead and stick him next to him, or you could stick Alain Prost in that car, you could stick Jim Clark in that car, or Graham Hill, and they still wouldn't be able to drive that thing because it's not designed for anybody except Max Verstappen. He's the only person that car is designed for. It's designed for his driving style and the way he likes a car set up. You could stick anybody in that car next to him and they would be down in the toilets.
Now, are you also saying that if you put Max on any other team,
he would struggle out of his backside? He would struggle out of his backside because he has a car that has been tuned to him. If you were to stick him in a McLaren or a Mercedes or a Ferrari or any other car on the grid, he would struggle. I'm not saying he'd do badly, but he would struggle.
I want to get your idea. What's your thoughts on the new Formula One television deal?
It's a money-making enterprise. It's not a fan-driven enterprise. Nonsense.
Well, I'm not a big fan of it going to Apple TV either. But
it's a money-making enterprise. What do you expect? But here's the thing: it will still just be people like me who are not in the United States or Britain, and we'll just get a sub-license from someone else.
You moved from England, Turf Island, then you came here. What's your thoughts in general on just like the general anti-trans vibe that you're seeing even in the West?
It's the same gay panic we saw in the 70s. We've seen all this before. Same gay panic we saw in the 70s. The same racist nonsense we saw in America in the 20s and we saw in Britain in the 50s. We go through these phases and people generally like repeating history because they want to cover up from something else. Social issues come to the fore when people have nothing better to do. You didn't see people complaining about gay people in World War II, now did you?
Well, they kept it kind of quiet.
Well, yeah. When there's something actually worth worrying about, people don't give monkeys about other people's lives. But it's when people are fired up by, lunatic idiots that are running the shows in other countries who have got nothing better to do that they want to distract and create a scapegoat for something. No, okay, we'll keep you over there.
One thing you were complaining about.
You
told me.
Complain?
Of course you.
Me complain? What are you talking about?
Oh, come on.
Moi? A complainer?
Yes, moi. Because there was something I want to get your take on something that happened in regards to some football. In regards to some football.
The Galaxy, if you think I've got a bigger bum than Ella. We love a big doll. Yeah. These are my balls. Right here on show. Get a load of it. Usually I'd charge. Lesbian handling balls. Never been seen before. Sorry about the travel, sweethearts. What do we think of Tottenham? If anyone's turned on by me doing this, send a Galaxy. Me wee hen. We should spank for luck. Bit of fun.
I am beyond comprehension as to how you can get it that wrong. The WSL have had to issue a formal apology to Tottenham Hotspur. And I, as an Arsenal fan, agree with that. So how far from the pack have you strayed when I, an Arsenal fan, go, yeah, you really should have apologised to Tottenham for that. But
that got you fired up, though.
Yeah, because, let's put it this way. Because it treats women's football as a joke. It treats women's football as a joke. Complete and utter joke.
Well,
and
some people...
it's unacceptable.
Well, the FA's been treating
the League Cup as a joke, which is unacceptable.
The FA's been treating women's football as a joke for some time.
Yeah, but the FA don't run this competition. The WSL run this competition, not the FA.
Well,
the FA don't run the top two levels of women's football. So I am banned from competing in men's football, and I am banned from competing in levels 3 through 7 of women's football. I am not banned from competing in the WSL and WSL2 because they're not run by the FA. How about that for nonsense in this day and age? But I am banned from the FA Cup. So if a WSL 1 or 2 team did decide to hire me, they couldn't play me in the FA Cup, but they could play me in the League Cup and the League and the Champions League.
And the interesting thing about that, right now in the FA Cup, in the round, a team with a trans woman as a manager is in the round of 32.
Yeah, it's a bit weird that. It's a bit weird that. And I got hats off to her. Got hats off to her. Because no one gave her two chances to get that team anywhere. Because, well, frankly, it's Sutton United, and they aren't that great.
Yeah, but they're playing pretty good at the moment. Near the top of the table. Near the top of the table in their league.
It was like a few years back when Hastings United almost made the third round. We all know who played for Hastings United. And then Salting did make the third round. And we all know who played for Salting. Very good friend of mine.
Yeah,
very Scottish friend of mine. Very Scottish friend of mine, Blair.
Yeah, a certain goalkeeper. They call her the washing machine.
She keeps a clean sheet.
I mean, that's what. No, see, but that's the one thing. What I've always wanted to ask: what is your thought on all the regulations that the FA put up this year? In fact, what's your thought in general about? I mean, most recently we have this thing in Strongman we talked about in the show earlier.
Toilet paper. Well, the regulations are just toilet paper. Unenforceable, unknowable, toilet paper that I may as well wipe my arse with.
Wow.
Straight up.
I
It's
did
just
not
toilet
see
paper.
that.
It's toilet paper that I may as well just wipe my arse with for all the good it does for the integrity of women's sport.
And you probably heard about, we talked about in the show earlier, this whole thing with the strongman competition.
For crying out loud, you're going to start there. I mean, for crying out loud, what do you expect? What do you expect in this day? Or the women's football or the girls' football team that was that had abuse shouted at them because some of them had short hair. IOC regulations are complete nonsense. They're just racism and chauvinism. Because I tell you this, if every man had to take a sex test, those sex tests would never see the light of day. It's only because it's men selling women to take them. And yes, before your angry viewers that hate on me tell me, yes, but the leader of the IOC is a woman. Yes, that's very nice for you. But if you look at the panel that is recommending all of this, it's full of men. And not a single man will be required to take one of these tests. It's just dog shite. I've been to a crematoria where the ashes lasted longer in a conversation with me than these people do burning my rights in front of my eyes. Because do you notice how it's always the white woman that's always used as the poster child against the nasty black woman that's come from East Africa that doesn't fit the beauty standards and beauty norms? Have you noticed that South African girl or that Ethiopian girl or that Kenyan girl or that Algerian girl, they all had men and white women who never stepped on in court in their life tell these women that they are cheaters and they are not worthy of taking part purely because of the way they look and that they beat white people.
Can sport provide a way out?
Well, historically it has. Historically it has.
Historically it has, but
it takes
we're in a very different historical moment.
It takes people being allowed to actually be there in the first place. Jesse Owens was allowed to be there. I cannot remember their names, but I think it was the 1972 Olympics with the Black Fist. Can't remember their names.
Talking about Tommy Smith, John Carl, 68.
68.
Mexico
I know it was
City.
sometime around there. The thing is that you actually have to be allowed to compete. To be able to make those statements, you have to be allowed to compete. We are seeing an increasing number of people not being allowed to even turn up. Caster Semenya is not allowed to turn up. Imani Khalif, she's probably not allowed to turn up. No fault of either of those people, they just exist. But because they've been declared to not be woman enough in the eyes of moralistic white people, what do you expect? We're at a point now where sport has become, particularly Olympic sports and high-level professional sport, they have become divorced from what sport actually is. Sport is no longer a spectacle of how well you can, as an individual, compete against other people in your chosen field. Be that field hockey, artistic swimming, artistic gymnastics, trampolining, javelin. Doesn't really matter. It's become worse than it was during the Soviet period. It's become a political football for all the wrong reasons. It's not like you're going to have the great rivalries anymore of the Soviet Union v. the United States, where you've settled your differences on the basketball court or the hockey ice. Not anymore. It's just going to be you're just banned. Because I'm going to be some bloke who's never stepped on the court saying you can't participate because I don't think I could shag you. Which is what it turns out, which is what at the end of the day, most of this boils down to. It's a load of men that find these people unattractive and that their attractive white person is losing. It's as simple as that. And at the end of the day, that is all transphobia is. And transphobia breeds contempt for people who don't fit white Western stereotypical beauty standards. These rules are out there to appease people who don't understand how the world works. The realpolitik of this world says, you imposing these rules are absolute morons. To quote my best friend, the very Scottish Blair Hamilton, it used to be that there was a principle that you were innocent until proven guilty. Unless, of course, you don't fit that beauty standard or you're a trans person. Then you're guilty until proven innocent and you're banned so you can't prove your innocence.
Needless to say, I don't think that any representative of the IOC would want you on the board of the IOC.
Don't think I'm top of their lists. Don't think I'm top of their lists.
Yeah, but I can tell you one thing, Phoebe, you're always on the top of ours. Pheobe Rose, thanks for being on Transposition Sports, and I'm going to want you back again because of Lando.
Yes. This time
Norris.
Sunday, he'll be world champion.
I'm going to let you, I'm going to tell you, I'm going to keep your mind on it.
This time Sunday, he'll be world champion, and he'll be dancing in front of Max Verstappen, and the entire nation of Holland will be very upset with him. And that will be a very, very satisfying moment.
Thanks again to Pheobe Rose for being with us. And Phoebe, I'm going to hold you to your prediction for the upcoming Grand Prix weekend. Finally tonight, Karleigh's commentary. And, once again, it never fails. There's 3 certainties in life. Death, taxes, and cisgender people are going to believe a lie about trans people well ahead of the truth that trans people will tell you about themselves. We're seeing it again with the whole controversy regarding Jamie Booker. Never mind that Jamie Booker has not said publicly how she moves through the world. But still, you will tar Jamie Booker with the same brush that Leah Thomas has been tarred with for the last 3 years. Oh, by the way, a question. Pablo Torre found out from 2 of Riley Gaines' teammates that Riley's accusations, the ones about Leah Thomas, that Leah was exposing herself in the locker room, were nonsense. But I don't see many retractions out there. In fact, I see a lot of people doubling down rather than saying, you know what? These people were in the room and, Riley got it wrong. But again, it just shows more people are more apt to believe a lie about trans people that a cis person tells them than the truth trans people have been telling you about ourselves all this time. And with that in mind, I'd like to ask the editors and editorial staff at the British Broadcasting Corporation a question. Since when has misgendering become journalistic ethics? When has misgendering become a part of your style book? I want to know, because I'll tell you right now, you ever refer to me as a biological male, I will consider you a transphobe. I will treat you as such. And you have to understand, I demean bigots. It's my preference. But this isn't new. Trans people have been telling you this. We have been telling you the truth and the facts about ourselves, but yet you don't want to listen. And I'm here to tell you, not listening to trans people, especially in this moment, has been hazardous to our health. Look at the year we've had in 2025. There are many of you, and quite a few well-meaning people among you, who buy the nonsense of all these executive orders. There are no men in women's sports. Oh, there are men screwing up women's sports. Men are ruining women's sports. Oh, you got that right, transphobe. Especially the men who run governing bodies, the men who run newspapers and television sports networks around the world. And oh, don't forget, the men who you vote into office to take your rights away. Yeah, those men. Oh, by the way, they're all cisgender. Just saying. We've been telling you about this, but look at what's happened this year. And some of you, when we tell you this, crash out and get an attitude about it. Do us a favor. Stop getting an attitude, and you know what? Listen to us. Listen to what we're telling you. We're telling you the facts of our existence here. And you not listening to us has been hazardous to our health. Even well-meaning allies who feel every time you get called in or corrected, you got an issue. You know what? Deal with it. Sometimes you're going to screw up, and sometimes we may have to pull your card about that. But the point is, if you're really going to stand shoulder to shoulder with us, then when you get it wrong, we're going to try and set you right. I'm not trying to be mean. We're just trying to hold the line the best way we can. And the fact of the matter is, listen to us when we're telling you, we are tired. Especially this year. We're freaking exhausted in the 2025. I mean, it has been a year from hell. But you know what? I want to give a little props to at least one person who has been staunchly standing on the right side of things. There's a woman who's become quite the influencer, power athlete, strength athlete, named Laura Burritos, also known as Burritos and ADHD. By the way, just two things. One, if you haven't checked out her content, you should. And number two, Laura, you got a standing invitation to come here on Transposition Sports. I want to bring you in. Now, this is a person who is not only a serious power strength athlete, she's also a past NCAA champion. She was an NCAA champion in two different disciplines, track and field and swimming. She knows what it's about and she knows what it takes. And she brought this out to talk about what it means to stand firm as a cis athlete for trans people in sports in these times.
Hey guys, so if you're a cis woman and you're kind of on the fence about speaking up in favor of trans women and like advocating for them, but you're like, I don't know, man, I'm just gonna get a lot of abuse. I'm gonna get harassed, probably some threats. Imagine how tired they are. Like, we can handle that for short periods of time. You know what I mean? Like, redirect the abuse a little bit, but imagine how tired they are. We can handle that. If you have the privilege, you can handle it. I promise. Just post the thing.
To those of you out there, especially those who say that I want to stand with trans people, that I want to stand with trans people in sports, understand, every time you stay silent, it's another punch in the gut. You not listening to us is hazardous to our health. Think about it. Happy holidays, everyone. For Transposition Sports, I'm Karleigh Chardonnay Webb.